how on earth am I going to get a suitable screenshot for a thumbnail with this much foliage all over the place? It's going to be nuts. I'm going to have to get like a close-up somewhere or something. But hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. This is an Enduro project created by Price Plays, who has been a very, very long-term supporter of the channel. He has been working on this for God knows how long. I would say probably maybe like a year on and off at this point, and scrapping things and starting again, etc, etc. What we have here is a massive Enduro compound. Now there is, I believe, a track on here somewhere. If we bring up the actual map overlay, you see on the right, there is a track that you can follow. But outside of that, there's a whole bunch of trails and hill climbs and things of that nature that you can go and experiment with and adventure in yourself. Now, with rock gardens that he's got here, if any of you played Krakenberg before, you might be aware of every now and then you might get stuck inside one of the rocks or it will crash your game. You might get weird kicks, etc. That's because the rocks were models. The rocks that we have right here, these are, how it works is it's a dual terrain. So you've got your height map with all your bumps and stuff, and then he's put like a rock object over top, but without collisions. So underneath this rock is dirt. So you don't actually ride the rock itself, you ride the dirt that's underneath it. So there shouldn't be any game crashing. They should be quite manageable to ride through. And he did kind of suggest that people actually try riding over them rather than dodging them all, because apparently you can get into like quite a bit of a rhythm and like jumping your way through, etc. So I'm very interested to try it out. Now, obviously, we are limited on time when it comes to making these sorts of videos. So this isn't something I'm going to spend hours and hours researching and trying to find every single part and hill climb and secret bit off the trail. But we are going to stick to the main trail and see what we find. It's also worth mentioning that there's no logs around this place because it sounds like Price basically got to the end of his computer limitations, and then when he started trying to add logs in and stuff like that, he was just getting game crashes and all sorts. So he's kind of released what he can. He said he's sad to release it without logs and things of that nature in here, but looks like quite an exciting one, and we haven't had any, let's call it hard enduro, for quite some time now. We do get the occasional trails dotted around here and there, but nothing too challenging. So we're going to try this out today. I'm riding the Yamaha, which I have an Enduro model swap on, which would be quite nice to fit the theme. And let's just have some fun and see how long it takes and see how it goes. You know what is going to be weird is basically riding these current OEM bikes after riding the previews. I'm going to feel like I've got unlimited amounts of traction here. The most difficult thing, first of all, is going to be trying to work out which way I go. I mean, we've got start gates over here, so these will actually be a very, very handy indicator. So let's see which direction they are facing. So they have fallen down that way, which tells me that we start this way, and then the gate drops and we go off in this direction. So let's see how this goes. So I guess we hook off to the left here. I'm going to be staring at that map on the right hand side of my screen so much to try and work out where it is that we're actually going. I am actually awful. I think my brain stops working at some point when it comes to discovering tracks for the first time, working out exactly where you go. Does this feel like... No, this is regular soil. I say a little bit slidey there on the beginning of it. It felt like regular soil rather than soft soil. But no, I think we're all right. I did do a bit of a goober maneuver actually, turning left going up that hill. I just hooked it hard left rather than kind of arcing out and then cutting back in to give myself a nice run up. But these OEM bikes, they're pretty good at going up hills anyway, aren't they? I'd be very interested to see how like the preview bikes that we have right now would handle this kind of terrain, because obviously the grip is really good in the middle of the tyre, but then when you're on a little bit of the side of it, it gets not so good. Let's kind of coast our way down here. Oh, don't go too far. Brakes. I think that would count as me going through the flags, wouldn't it? One thing Price hasn't done is mention how long lap times take. Now, I'm guessing the start-finish line is a bit further around the track than where I've started, because my timer or the max huddle top left hasn't yet started just yet. It might be before where the start gates were, where I hit, but we'll find out as and when we get to it. But I do like kind of trails and harder enduros in this game. There's something, in a weird way, even though it does take quite a bit of concentration and you have to look quite far ahead to determine where it is you're going before you get there to set yourself up well, it's one of them things that I feel like I can shut my brain off a little bit more and just play and enjoy without having to kind of stress or try too hard. I mean, I would like to bet if we was to somehow get these sorts of stats, I wish these are things that we could find out in the game itself, but unfortunately we can't. Maybe one day. I would love to find out who has ran the most laps of Krakenberg in the entirety of the community, because I think I must be up there. Not just like ran laps themselves, but completed laps as well. Not just loaded it, got halfway through, closed it, and then come back to it again at a later date. actually, from start to finish, oh, we need to go through here, fully completed a run of the course. Now let's try these rocks out. Hang on. Oh, he was very correct. Okay, that one was a bit steep. These rocks are very rideable. W price, W indeed. I have been told information on how dual height maps work before, and it just sounds like something that I never ever want to wish upon my worst enemy. It does not sound like a fun time. They seem very, very complicated. So if you have any questions about dual height maps, please do not direct them towards me, because I do not have all the information at hand. But these are so much more rideable than any other rocks that I've ridden before. Look at it, just no horrible kicks. I mean, you might get some horrible kicks here and there from the dirt that's underneath them, but on the actual rocks themselves, that is very, very manageable. Christ, you have impressed me already, straight away. To the point where I forgot what I was waffling about before we got into the rock garden. Oh no, I was talking about Krakenberg, wasn't I? Yeah, I'd love to see like a stats page, like how many laps people have run across the entirety of their games, or how many laps they've run on a certain track. Then I suppose it wouldn't really be able to record the single player side of things, would it? Because then you'd have to have like an internet connection all the time, and when people just like alt F4 their games, it probably wouldn't count, rather than just leaving and going back into the main menu. So I don't know, that is very wishful thinking for the future. What are we going up here to the right? Oh, our time has started now, actually. So this looks like it started just before that rock garden. We're about 2 minutes deep right now. Let's go up to the left. Do you know one thing that confuses me, which shows how small brain I am, is if I'm looking at the map right now, I am off the line at the moment. Let's try and look back over here. I always struggle because I've not got it where it follows me. The map stays in one place. I find it quite difficult sometimes knowing if I need to turn left or right, because it'll be like flipped or backwards. I have not been... Get up there. Go on this little ridge. There we go. I was meant to be following that ridge the whole time, and I was just riding beside it. So there is a high chance that the lap doesn't count. Oh, Jesus. Price, can we get some kind of a slowdown warning or flag at the top of that hill, please? So I don't absolutely end my bloodline. Right, let's come down here and then get smoothly on the power. Lean back a little bit to where the front wheel is light, but you're not wheeling up the entire hill. That's the best way of getting up these hills for Enduro. You don't want to have too much weight on the front end, or it'll start like flopping side to side and make you crash. And alternatively, you don't want it to be too light to where you basically wheelie and then have to shut off and lose all your momentum. Let's be nice and smooth down this hill. Trying to look ahead. There's actually some quite difficult sections here with the trees where they're very, very narrow. Oh, I like this. Oh, hang on. Let's slide the back end around. Lovely. Up on the pegs, just gentle all the way down. Nice. Can be a little bit difficult with this game sometimes with how the camera works in first person, especially if you're on like an off camera. The camera will like tilt at a weird angle and makes it difficult to read exactly where you're going. So shall I... Let's go around here to the right. It seems like I can get the most momentum. Shift down into first gear all the way up to the top. Even though... So I chose the Yami for this video just because of this model swap that I've got on it, which I don't think is public just yet. I know people will ask for it, but you know how Dashpack released an entire set of model swaps for the MX bikes? He is also working on a similar thing for Enduro stuff as well. So if you are quite Enduro-minded, like myself, and you want a whole bunch of Enduro model swaps at some point, they should be coming. I don't know if it's in the near future, but they will definitely be in the future. I think this Jammy might be the only one that he had finalised so far, so he quickly whipped it together and threw it in game for me, which I'm very, very thankful. Can't see the front end. Oh my... I thought I survived that for a second. This is the bit where it gets a bit techy, because I don't know if I've hit this timing gate now, so I'm going to spin around, hit it again, just to be sure, just to be safe, and then we'll carry on about our way, because it would just kind of suck if we got all the way around the track and then it turns out, actually no, you didn't. There was one timing gate that you missed, so your whole lap's not going to count. Let's get all down here. We've got another rock garden by the looks of it. Lovely stuff. So it wants us to join here, pop a UE to the right, then come back through here. So we don't utilise all of this rock garden. So I think that's where he kind of says, you know, go and experiment and try just seeing what's out there yourself so you can experience all of it. So it looks like this trail is just a small part of it. I can't get over how smooth these rocks feel. Obviously we know what... Oh, did you see? There is something about the way the lighting is hitting right here that looks amazing. That's a really odd thing to kind of stop and say in the middle of a video, but I don't know, yeah, the way that lighting was stuck there looked great. Oh no. We're going to go around this one. We're not going to worry about that big one too much. Up and round to the side, lovely. And then just step all the way down. Oh god, I think I'm trying to go too fast now. That's my issue. And we are going to get a little bit stuck. We'll get a few Pibobo physics. That's fine. Work our way through. Please get through. Lovely. We'll go around to the right. Now, looking at MXB mods, it seems like there's quite a few happy campers, obviously, after they've seen this been released also. I feel like the Enduro community is such a niche thing. And generally, one of my favourite... Oh, don't know what's happened there. One of my favourite eras of this game as a whole is when we had that Ace Moto short res course series going on, because there were so many people there that I'd never seen do Enduro stuff before that kind of got out of their comfort zone and gave it a go. It was nice even seeing other YouTubers like Troy was giving it a go, and I loved going back and watching Troy's video on it as well. I can't remember what one of the rounds it was, but he was in a whole world of pain and suffering at the start. There's like a log garden right out of the start. You turn left, hit a bunch of logs, and he was down horrendous at the start of that, and then tried clawing his way through. But that was generally one of my most fun periods of this game. I'd love to do something similar at some point. I mean, there's only so much you can do, you know, on the same tracks over and over again before it gets like a little bit repetitive. And I have no idea actually how way back in, let's say, like 2020, 2021 periods before we had all of like the replica tracks every single week. I have no idea how we managed to keep the game fresh on a weekly basis while still doing competitive races on the same tracks over and over again with all the grinding that was taking place. But it was a different era, you know. People didn't sit and grind and hot lap all day every day, so people just kind of hopped on more for fun, and I loved it. I really did. And I think the new era that we're gonna have, I think it's gonna be by SMX, I think the OEM team said, for these new preview bikes getting like fully released. I'm very intrigued to see what happens to the game and its player base, because I genuinely, I'm not trying to like put a dampener on you guys as a community overall, I expected so much backlash from them preview bikes. It is unreal. I thought everyone would be complaining up in arms, saying like, this is awful, like why would you do this, blah blah blah. I think I've seen maybe 5 people in my comment, at least on like the video I done, saying that they weren't a fan, and everyone else was like, I love how the game's being slowed down and there's an extra level of realism being added to it. And it seems like a lot of people shared my kind of thoughts, where I love the aspect now of being able to get the back end kicked out into a turn, like back into a corner, or go into a Supercross bowl turn and spin it around and get going again. And it seems like people were quite happy with the traction on the straights. It's purely a case of they want just a tiny bit more on the side in the corners and they'll be happy. So I was very surprised. I thought we'd get all sorts of complaints and the whole community would just hate it. I haven't seen too much from like the faster guys yet, but I mean, I don't speak to too many of them on a daily basis. A lot of it is just talking to you guys in the comments. But I was, yeah, genuinely shocked to see so many like happy-ish people. I really didn't expect it at all. So W to all of you for having opening your eyes and being open to some change a little bit. I can fully also understand the people that don't like it, where they're coming from, where maybe they're only just getting to grips with the game right now with lots of traction, and it's going to be harder than it was before, or it's going to be slower. But we've always got this ongoing debate, I think, on bikes, and I realise I'm probably going around track backwards right now. I'm just kind of adventuring and seeing what I can find. We've always got this ongoing debate on bikes where it's not a simulator, but it's trying to be, and it's like trying to bridge that gap on what does and doesn't work. And I don't know, I'm happy for changes. It's nice mixing things up a little bit, to be honest. I suppose once you master one set of physics, it can get a little bit boring at times. Then to have them completely changed and you have to go back to the drawing board and relearn things again, and there might be new faster people in this beta or this era of OEMs than there was in the year before. I quite enjoy it. I think it's good fun, and I'm very excited to see how SMX goes. And again, if you haven't seen my video on them, it was the video before this, I do recommend going and checking it out just to see what you guys think of it as well. Is you have to remember, when you're testing them, they're not built for the current tracks that we have. So whilst they might feel like slow or they struggle when you can't triple this in Supercross or quad that, that's because the Supercross tracks we have right now are scaled for the current bikes. They're actually overscaled. Whereas if you use the current bikes and went and downloaded a 2021 Supercross track from Stone Rider, you would be like, this track is tiny, what's going on? Whereas now, if we have new bikes, they will build the tracks to make them rideable on them bikes, and it will be much more enjoyable and a more fun experience overall. So that will kind of wrap it up for me. I realise this has been a little bit shorter than I anticipated. The actual main track around here, I think it was sub 10 minutes. I want to say it was like around the 8-ish minute mark. My lap didn't count, which is understandable because I've been off the track a whole bunch. So hopefully you guys can do a bit of a better job than I did of doing that. But it's really nice having this, I guess, cool, almost like Enduro-y playground to mess around on and try and find different trails and lines, etc. And there's probably a whole bunch of secret hill climbs or rock gardens that you can experiment with and find that I haven't been able to. So congratulations on finally getting to release this price. I know it's been a long time coming for you. And thank you for giving the Enduro community something a little bit extra to play whilst we sit and wait for maybe something huge in the future. Who knows? But that'll do it for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's very much appreciated. Have a lovely rest of the day, wherever you're up to, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.
Lynn's in the zone, never backing down. Riding MX bikes, he's the talk of the town. 2022 champ with a YouTube crown. His game is tight, no signs of slowing down. Late nights, bright lights, he's chasing that fame in the digital arena. Writing his name, she's a 10 out of 10. Supporting his lane, hairline might receive, but his passion's the same.